Welcome back again. Avid Tires tying another bug. Today is the Jellybean. This is a really cool Scud imitation that utilizes some UV finish and quite a bit of UV finish. Gives it a really unique translucent look, which is a lot of fun. And we're going to utilize some of the Loon colored UVs to enhance it a little bit along the way. But a cool fly, one that's really fun to fish, that's great in a variety of locations, lakes and rivers included, tailwater specific, very strong option to have in your box. Scuds and sow bugs, this one could be a good fit for you. All right, so we're tying this fly on a cool hook today. It's the Umpqua 625 BLBN. It's a barbless hook with a black nickel finish to it. It's got a nice curved profile with a straight eye. And tying this hook, I'm gonna prepare myself for something later down the line. I'm gonna leave a good bit of this thread hanging out the back. So I'm gonna actually start my thread and walk on down, but we're not gonna clip out that tag end like you normally would. We're gonna utilize that instead. So we'll just go ahead and secure the thread in place on our hook shank, and then we'll put that in our material clip to come back to there. From there, we're going to tie in the main portion of this fly, at least the underbody part. This is some Ostrich Herl, and I'm using some tan today. It's a nice contrasting color to the thread that I'm using. So we'll go ahead and grab one of those off of the plume and prepare it to be tied in here. And I'm just going to strip some of the barbels off on the back end so that I have a nice clean tie-in point. And we can come on the back side here and secure that in place. And then I'll just walk forward, covering up that bare stem almost to the front of the hook, about a hook eye's back, leaving us a little bit of room for finishing the bug with a couple of half hitch there. And now we're going to go ahead and palmer that forward. I'd like to do this one hand over hand, but you can use your rotary as well. And we're just going to sneak that first wrap right on the back there, and then touching wraps on forward. Getting that ostrich to flare out real nicely. It's a really cool material. And the tan is an excellent lifelike color. We'll go right to where that thread's hanging out. And we can capture it off. And then we're going to manipulate it a little bit. Secure that. I'll preen everything rearward so that I can jump in front and keep it clean up on that front end. And then we're going to work all of these downward. We want these to be the legs of our scud, so I'm just going to wet my fingers a little bit there and pull them all downward, giving that leggy look to it. Now from here, we're going to start playing with some UV. And there's some fun stuff available out there today. UV's come a long way in what they're able to do. First, we're starting out with some clear UV. And this is the thick from Loon. You definitely want the thick for this bug because you're going to build up and manipulate it. And if you use the thin, it's going to move around on you too much. So having something that's a little thicker makes it easier to work with. We'll just dab on a fair amount, starting kind of small though, as we're going to build it as we go. So we'll work a little bit on there. Use my bodkin to maneuver it around. And right now I'm going to build a bit of a flat section. We'll come back and make it a bigger hump as we work along. But for now I want to keep it fairly flat, hit it with the UV light, because that'll make it easier to wrap our ribbing forward, that thread that we left back there hanging out. So we'll do one layer of clear thick, make sure that cures, and then we're going to come in with our hot orange. And Loon has started giving us a stir stick, which is awesome for these colors, because if you don't get them mixed up real good, you don't get the maximum color that you're looking for, that bright color that you're looking for. This is the hot orange that's going to match our thread here. So we're going to mix it up real good before we use it. Make sure we get as much color into that UV as we can. We want it as bright as possible. And I'm going to grab some with my bodkin here. You can use the stir stick too. And we can bring it on up on top and layer in. I don't want too much, just kind of a light coating on top. And this is a little bit thinner than the thick finish, so you do have to be a little faster with it. But I want to make sure that I get some color. So I'll put a little on top, and then you can keep it moving as well. So it's not running on you too much, but I do want it also to be flat as possible. We'll keep it moving, and then we'll hit it with our UV. And also trying to keep it out of the ostrich Herl. It is easy to bleed this into that ostrich Herl, but we want to keep it out as best as we can. And then from there I'm going to build another small layer of thick right on top. So typically this fly, when you're tying it, you would do the thick UV, and then you might come in with a marker instead of that colored UV and create a little layer, just some coloration to it. Adds to the kind of the perception of the translucence and just the build out of the fly, that exoskeleton that you might see. So I'm going to build up on top of the orange some clear to differentiate it. Again, a fairly small amount there. And we'll hit it with our UV light again. And just working it along and kind of building it up as we go. This is a fairly unique and really fun to tie fly with some very modern materials utilized. Now we're going to get ready to bring our wire forward, and I like to make sure that my ostrich is sort of going down straight off as best as I can, because you will be capturing it as you go around, so you're going to be working with that as you go. We'll get that first wrap in on the back side, and then we got to sort of sneak up on top. And this is where it gets a little tricky, just working it up there. And again, if you have a flatter base up top, it's a little easier to wrap this thread on forward. And once we get started, it gets a little bit easier as we go. Just keeping that ostrich out of there while keeping tension on the thread, so that we still have that buggy underbody there. Keep going forward here. Trying not to trap that ostrich right to where our thread's waiting for us. Capture that, lock it all down behind the hook eye, and clip out our tag end, and then give it a whip finish, but we're not quite done yet. We got some more UV work to do here. Take that out. Now we're going to really utilize that thick and create a nice big rounded out, thickened scud profile. So work right from the top, kind of lay down a layer, let it sort of marinate there. You can move it around a little bit. Just manipulating that UV to be where you want it. It tends to like to stay connected to itself, that like water tension sort of feature in this, which is helpful. And we're just going to add a bit more. We're going to kind of work on this profile and sort of even it out and make a nice, juicy, irresistible bug for trouts. this in a lot of different colors. White is really popular with pink. Olive is great as well. We were talking here as we were tying this up, and doing like an orange variation with some olive wire could be good as well. A lot of possibilities. Oh, get away from me there. Always have a paper towel handy when you're working with UV, because it can definitely be messy. But we're looking for that glass body, basically, when we're all said and done, and kind of burying that thread within it, which gives it just a really cool look overall. So that side looks good. I got a little bit more work to do on this side to kind of even it out. Throw a little bit more down, work it around. Hit it with that UV, and you can see how that thread, all that UV in there, just really pops out of that clear body and gives for a super cool look and a very fishy fly. That's a nice little scud for your waterways, for your still water fishing, for your tailwaters. And in a lot of locations, this can be a great option to throw at them. The Jellybean. Appreciate you watching today's tying tutorial. If you enjoyed the video, throw us a like, we appreciate that. And then also drop us a comment below and let us know what you'd like us to tie on future videos. Have fun at the vise.